Hi, you guys. Welcome back to OM Gina. As always, I know this is supposed to be daily, but life has been lifing. Thankfully, I am here with one of my closest friends, Chelsea, my PIC. Say
Hi,
hi.
and that's partner in crime for the ones that don't know.
So, I know you wanted to talk about something today. What is that?
Yes, I want to talk about disassociation
Okay.
and how it affects your relationships with people and how you move through life.
Okay. So, on a prior episode, I was actually talking about, life has been lifing. And sometimes you need to take that time apart from the world, from your partner, from your friends, from your family, and just sit there and focus on yourself. But I do appreciate my other friends, like, they understood. And it wasn't, no, I don't talk to you every day. What's going on? They just understood.
They understood what you were going through.
They just gave me a break. And I reached out whenever my mindset got back together. And it was like, hey, you're okay today.
Yeah.
You can talk to other people now.
Yeah.
Have you ever been through that? Well, duh, you
I
have.
have. I'm literally going through that right now. I would say for a lot of people, when it comes to disassociation, on the outside looking in, they might not fully understand it unless they've experienced it because it kind of seems selfish in a sense. Like you said, you're ignoring your friends, you're ignoring your family, but it's like you have been running and running on autopilot for so long that it's like, okay, I need to pause. And okay, I need to take the time for me and not just be like tunnel vision to whatever is going on. And I think it's super important to do that because if you don't, you start to get burnout. Correct. And that's what happened to me. I burnt out. Like, I was just going and going and going. And I know everybody can relate to that because, like you said, life be life. And you got to do what you have to do. But I think sometimes we have to kind of take a step back and analyze what is going on in our life and kind of figure out what is really happening. You know what I mean? Instead of just, okay, every day I get up at 7, I go to work, I do that. Like, it's such, you know what I mean? I feel like we become robotic in that sense. It's like, okay, I have kids, I got to take care of my kids, or okay, I got to go to work to pay my bills. But it's like, what about yourself?
Exactly.
And like how you take care of yourself, because if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of nobody. That's how I look at it.
See?
And I know everybody feels that way.
Exactly. You really be listening to this podcast.
Of course. I love it. This is like, I'm so, like I told you earlier, this year has become my selfish year. Like, and I journal every day. I sit with myself.
Wait, I don't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
No,
what's the journal?
So because I like to write.
Yeah.
I have like my poetry and stuff. So what I started doing is.
And wait a minute, what is the poetry page? In case people want to listen.
My poetry page is on Instagram. It's at Eternal Solace, but it's ETER period NAL and then Solace SOLACE. So check it out if you like poetry. I do write a lot of things in there, and I write with emotion. So get ready to.
Yeah, it's a lot. I'm letting y'all know it's a lot. It really hits home. It does. Yeah. And it's like it puts you in a place where you thought you left. Right. And it brings you right back just to deal with those emotions. Because you can't go forward in life without dealing with emotions. Yes. Any type of situation, your past, your current, anything, you can't move forward.
Yeah. And I feel like with me, like, writing my thoughts daily and the things I'm going through, it allows me not to dwell on my emotions.
Yeah.
And I think that's where people get boggled down, where they're like, okay, I'm sad today. But it's like, or like they say I'm sad. It's like, no, you're not sad. Maybe something happened to you, Correct. But that's not your identity. That's not who you are. Yeah. And I think we start to feel like I'm this sad person, I'm useless, or I'm hopeless. And as we start to put those labels on ourselves, and then we're dragging along because we're like, oh, we're not good enough. And it's literally like how you talk to yourself and the things you put out into the world. And so by me journaling, even if I don't feel comfortable to say it to someone, I'm comfortable to write it down. And I started sharing my work with people because I'm like, hey, if I feel like this, I'm sure there's tons of people who feel the same way and might be able to resonate with what I'm saying. So I stopped being a chicken, and I was like, I'm going to put my work out there. And a lot of people, I will say, I've had a lot of positive feedback about it. Good. So that's good. And a lot of people were saying, like, you know, I write very beautifully and all that stuff. And I was like, oh, because I never thought I was good. Like, I just always did it, because even as a child, like, that was an outlet for me, too. Because I always felt, like, not heard. So I'm like, let me write. Exactly. And I used to write, like, stories, everything. So that's something for me that makes me feel better. So I try to do it daily. And even if I'm not writing poetry, I still, like, I write how I'm feeling, my feelings for that day, and then I analyze my feelings. So, like, if it's a bad day, I'll analyze that, and I'll be like, okay, how can I make tomorrow better?
Exactly.
And I feel like that's steps so that you don't begin to disassociate. You know what I mean?
Correct.
So I think it's really helpful, like, for sure, for anybody. You don't have to even go as in-depth as me, but I say, like, write down how you feel, right? Yeah. And write down how you're going to change that. So, like, a cause and effect kind of, you know, take action. Because if you just dwell on your feelings, that's when you're just like, okay, I can't do anything.
And you're not going anywhere.
But if you sit there and you say, okay, well, this happened to me, but I can do this, or I have this, or whatever. Like, you look at the positive, and that helps, too. So that's what I've been doing to help me.
It does. Because just like I spoke about, you guys know, my prior episode, when I speak about that self-doubt, that self-doubt can literally destroy your current plans, your future plans, because you're going to feel like you're not worth it, or I used to be like this back in the day. Yeah. And I can't be this person that I want to be because of my past. That's not true. Like I tell you guys every day, as long as God allows us to go to sleep at night and wake up the next day, we are able to change any little thing. Even if in the past something happened, clearly we can't go back and change the past, but we have to learn from the situation. We have to make us a better person. We can't change anything. We can only change the present and going forward. So that's why I always let you guys know, don't let anyone bring up your past and make you feel like you used to be like this, or remember when you used to get down like this. It doesn't matter. That's not me anymore. I grew from that. Clearly, you didn't take the time out to get yourself together to understand that life is nothing but a growing process. So like I always tell you guys, you can't listen to that. Don't make that your life and make you, you know, turn back to the person that you used to be. That person that you used to be is gone. It's gone. That's the past. It's a past for a reason. We're all about the present and creating a future.
Correct. And I think that a lot of times it's easier said than done.
It is.
Because I think naturally as people, we do have a fear of the unknown. So we're always going to doubt ourselves.
Don't be talking about me on here. I feel like that every day.
I kid you not. I will speak like from my own personal experience.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that, you know, I didn't think it was fear, but now that I'm like looking more into like certain things, I'm realizing that yes, I'm fearing maybe doing something challenging or something out of my comfort zone, because we get so content with what we have going on.
Know.
But a lot of times, like, that fear that you have for something is not real. Like, you know, you could be scared to like public speak, but you know, like you said in your one episode. But the thing is that you have to realize that those people, you might think, oh, they're talking about me or like whatever. But 10 times out of 10, they really don't care. They just want to get through their day and they're going about their business there. And we literally will tell ourselves like, oh my God, they're going to talk about me.
Yeah.
Or, oh, they're going to make fun of me. It's ourselves. Like we are our own worst enemies sometimes. We put ourselves down before anybody else can. Yeah. And I feel like it's like a way for us to kind of save face. We're like, you know what I mean? But I think, like I said, it's easier said than done. And, like, you just have to know that you're doing those things. But I always say, like, even if you fear the unknown, sometimes you just taking that one little step literally can change your whole life.
It could.
And that thing that you feared, it was like you realize, like, wow, it really was nothing. You know?
Exactly.
And it's like, and I know we've all been there. I know you've been there. I've been there where I'm like, wow, why was I even like scared, or why was I nervous about that when it really, helped me to become a better person.
Exactly. And when you spoke about that fear of the unknown, that's, well, these guys, everyone listening already knows, you already know that I should have been started this podcast. But that self-doubt, I was scared because I'm just like, no one's gonna want to listen to what I'm saying until I grew in life and realized, like, life really be lifing.
Yeah.
And I know it's at least one person out there that's going through the same thing that I'm going through right now. Let me talk about it. Maybe it would help someone. Yeah. And I've had multiple people leave me voice messages letting me know certain topics that I talk about on different episodes that it really helped them. Like they were at their lowest. And that just makes life great for me. Like I always let them know, I'm really not doing this for funds. Yeah. I'm really not, because
if you could make a difference in one person's life,
correct,
that's everything. Yep.
Because you know how family be at times. Sometimes you could literally not have anyone to talk to, but just listening to someone,
or they could be very negative. Like you tell them your dreams and goals, and they're just like, "Oh, you can't do that. You'll never have that." And a lot of people deal with that, where they kind of like make themselves smaller for their families. And they don't realize until they're like away from their families that, hey, you know, I could do this.
Exactly.
So, no, it's real. Like you said, life be life, and
it really does. But
it's a journey, though. It's a journey, and I feel like every single day, like that God allows you to be on this earth, it's like you really have to take advantage and learn yourself and learn the things that make you happy.
Exactly.
Ultimately, because at the end of the day, nobody's gonna make you happy but yourself.
Correct.
And if you're not happy, that's everything else falls behind that. If you're not happy, like it's gonna trickle off to your partners, to your family, and things like that. You're just gonna think like, oh, I don't want to be around this person. They're always sad, or they're always upset about little things.
So yeah, I agree with you. Yes. So yes. Oh
wait, we gotta bring it full circle though. We gotta get back to disassociation.
Oh, correct. But wait, before we even go back, I really agree with all that you said, for the simple fact that how that self-doubt is, it's really terrifying. It's terrifying because you could be so sure about something in the moment, and then someone can say something, someone can do something, and then it just changes your mindset. You start second guessing yourself, knowing what you can do, what you are, how far you've come.
So, and that's why I'm all for like affirmations. And like, and telling yourself, like, listen, I am these things, because the world is cruel. The world's already telling you, you ain't good enough, you ain't shit. Excuse my language. So it's like, you can't tell yourself that. You can't give up on yourself, for sure. And I feel like with disassociation, that's kind of what happens. You kind of start to give up on yourself. And it's like you have to find yourself again.
Correct.
And I think a lot of times, if the people around you don't fully understand that, they might think, oh, this person is just in a mood, or this person is away. But it's like you're literally fighting with your mind.
Correct.
And I don't think everybody fully understands that unless they've been, like, had to deal with it.
Yeah.
And I feel like people can't take it personal at all, because it has nothing to do with anybody else but yourself and what you have going on. And it's tough. It's tough to work through it, but you really have to, because at the end of the day, you're going to come out way happier on the other side when you realize, like, okay, this is what I need to do to be happy.
Exactly. That's why I always promote when anything happens in life, it doesn't even have to be a relationship. You can leave a relationship. You can call it quits to a friendship. You could have an argument with your family and you just feel alone. It's okay. Honestly, me personally, as I always go personal for you guys, I feel like when something like that happens in life, being alone is the only place to be. You have to be alone. Yeah. So.
And I agree with that. And I think, like we were saying earlier, is a lot of the things that happen in your life, they shape you.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when it comes to disassociation, I feel like that happens more when you feel like you don't have anybody.
Correct.
So you sink within yourself, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna figure this out, or I'm gonna be in my emotions.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, your emotions are not real. Your emotions are what you're telling yourself.
Correct.
So if you're sitting there telling yourself, I'm not good enough, what do you think is gonna come to you?
Exactly.
So it's like you really have to be grateful and practice gratitude and just find the good, even in the bad situations. Just find the good. You know what I mean? You could have so many bad things happen to you, but you kind of have to sit back and be like, okay, well, at least I have a roof over my head. Or at least I can eat every day. Like, take those little wins, and I feel like that helps bring you back to yourself. Because when you disassociate, it's crazy. It really feels like you are not, like, your physical body is present, but you are gone.
Correct.
You are nowhere to be found. Like, you're just, and I know for me, when I disassociate, I could be in a room full of people and they would have no idea, because I'll be engaging with them, but my mind is gone. I'm thinking about everything else, and I'm just in my own worlds, and I feel almost like alienated in my head, if that makes sense.
It does.
And it's crazy because if you tell people this and they don't know, they think, they're like, this person's crazy. Like, what are they talking about? And I always say, like, I literally live in my head, and I'm learning to not live in my head. I'm trying to unlearn that. So I feel like anybody who is like me, I totally understand it, because it's a process. I'm not even there like 100% yet, but I know, like, each day you just have to take it little bit by little by little,
exactly.
And you get there, seriously. And, like, I just feel like people who are, like, disassociating, I think a lot of times it happens, like I said, when you feel like you don't have support.
Correct.
But it's like, even if you have a really good friend, like, you know, like someone like you that you can confide in, or you feel comfortable to let them know what's going on, like, do that. Or if you don't feel comfortable, they can do like how I do and just write it down.
Exactly.
You know, or talk to God, if, you know, whoever you believe in.
Yeah.
And because as long as you, well, whatever higher power you believe in, because, you know, everybody believes different things. But I will say that God is real, and God has gotten me through so many trials and tribulations in my life. He's truly amazing, and I just think, like, everybody on this earth, like, I don't judge anybody, but you have to believe in something, because there's some things that I've personally been through, I know I wouldn't have got through without God.
Correct.
I know I wouldn't have.
Thank you, because I don't be wanting people to feel like she always talking about God, and the reason why I keep talking about God is because it's a present. I get it. You can't really see him. You can't. But when he alters your life, when he puts you in the place at the right moment, the right time, you'll know he's real.
Yeah, he always gives you signs. You just have to pay attention. Correct. A lot of people don't pay attention to the signs. But if you pay attention, he's always talking to you. Always.
And that's
we choose to ignore him sometimes.
Correct. Especially we ignore it when we prayed on something and we see a little bit and then it just vanishes.
We're like, okay.
At that point, you got to look at it like, you know what? Maybe it wasn't meant for me right now.
Right.
Did I have the right mindset for it? Was I going to be appreciative once I received it? I look at it when we don't get it, it just wasn't our time. Yeah, it's not saying like we're not going to get it.
Right. Or sometimes, to go off what you're saying, it's not something that you want or you think you want. God might be like, that's not it. I got something better. Exactly. And we might look at it like, dang, like, you know, I really wanted this job, or I really wanted this house. But then, you know, if you believe and you pray and you keep working at it, you might even get a better house. You know what I mean? Or you might even, like, there's so many times where people get upset when doors close. But trust me, like they say, when one door shuts, like, they all open. Exactly. And it's true, because I've definitely been in situations where I was down on myself, like, I didn't get this job, or I didn't get into this, or whatever the case may be, and then something else great happened. So it's like, everything is on God's timing, for sure, and so don't ever doubt God.
Exactly.
That's how I feel about that, because he's truly amazing. That's all I'm going to say.
Very much so. And especially when he opens you up to really see you for who you truly are, when you've been hiding all that self-doubt, being scared. you really see who you're supposed to be. Once he takes over your life, it's a wrap. You're the person you're supposed to be. Now it just boils down to, are you ready to accept it? Are you ready to turn into this person and keep having... You cannot lose your faith. You can't. You just have to know everything is done for a purpose. We will never know why things happen in life. It's not our job to know. Right. We just have to take it for what it is. We have to keep praying. And like I always tell y'all, we have to be consistent in any and everything we do.
For sure. And I think, like, you know, when you're having an off day or things aren't going your way, I think instead of, you know, thinking, oh, God's not real, let's just say, I feel like we should take that time to sit with ourselves and take that time to really pray or write and just write the things you want. Like, I feel like that's something that has worked for me. When I feel sad, I write, like, in as if I have something. So, for example, if I'm trying to get a new car, I'll write the I have in whatever car it is. And I'll write that a whole bunch of time. And, like, for me, when I did that, I did end up getting a car, like, shortly after.
Look at that.
And I just prayed on it, and I saved my money, and I did what I had to do, and I was just like, no, this is what I want, and in God's timing, I got it. So
exactly.
You just have to really believe, and I think, like, to go back to what we were talking about previously, I think that it's definitely hard to, like, get in touch with yourself sometimes.
It is.
Because a lot of times I feel like we become, like, I don't even know how to explain it. We become like what is around us, and it almost alters our personality.
Just like to fit in.
Yeah, and I feel like as we grow and we're on this journey of life is when you're really discovering yourself.
Exactly.
So I feel like it's natural for you to have ups and downs. Of course, everybody does. Everything's not always going to be great, but just because everything's not great doesn't mean it's not going to be great. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And I think a lot of people dwell, like when something goes wrong, they dwell and dwell and dwell, and then just bad things keep happening to them, and they're just like, okay, why does all these bad things keep happening to me? And it's like, because you're dwelling in that, and Correct. That's what you're attracting with your negative mindset and your negative emotions. And that's why I said to you, like, you really have to change your whole mind frame and unlearn all that toxicity and all of that. Like, that's literally the key. If you want to be happy and not feel so disconnected from life, you literally have to do that.
Exactly.
And take that time. It's okay, guys, to be a little selfish and, like, you know, like they say, self-care. It's okay. It's okay if, hey, you're not feeling it, you stay in for the weekend, or you do things that you like, and you do the little things that make you happy. Like, that's what's important, and that's what's going to make you happy. Not pleasing other people.
Exactly. So, as always, for this closing, I do want to just say, I told y'all, that mindset. We have to get that mindset when it comes down to any and every choice that we make in life. If your mindset is not better than where it was 10 years ago, nothing's going to change in life. You still think the way you did all those years ago. Yeah. You have to look at life differently. You have to take out your past. You have to take out all of those bad situations.
Just keep moving forward.
Correct. You have to know at some point in life things are going to get better. I'm not saying it's going to get better tomorrow. It could take years, but you have to, as always, be consistent. You have to keep that faith and just know at some point in life things are going to get better. You can't dwell on it. Yeah. But as always, you guys, it was a pleasure talking to you guys. Chelsea, any last closing?
Yes, thank you for having me. It's been great.
Of course. Alrighty, you guys, I will talk to you tomorrow. Have a good night.